I'm Simon King, and this is What's Wrong. You missed us for a week. Of course you did, because we were gone. And I'll tell you why later on. I will tell you why later on that I was gone for a week. It involves an old man and his terrible piratey peg leg type movements that now... it's tendon related. It's going to be exciting. Listen. Welcome to Old Man Groaning. I'm very excited because this is our first time that we've had in the new studios, in Deadly Heights Studios, two guests: Maximillian Robert Lockwood, ladies and gentlemen, from Los Angeles, and Roy Haber, by way of Kentucky, and now in Vancouver temporarily, but again going back.
Yeah.
So you guys are visiting.
Thanks for having two unknown comics on your podcast.
Right, this is a podcast run by two unknown comics. So quite frankly,
you're a little modest. You're at least Canadian famous.
It's Canadian.
I do want to, before it gets on too much, I do want to comment on all of your rhyming up top, because you were like, "Hey, we were gone," and that's wrong, but he'll tell you about it later on. And I was like, "Oh, he's got three. Keep going."
It's just a Wu-Tang podcast. I didn't warn you guys.
Let's talk about
what's
ODB.
your favorite part of Gravel Pit? It's like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ, that was weird. So thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're listening to this, you could be watching this. You could be watching this on youtube.com/thecitizenstrange. We are now up to 3 or 4 regular viewers and one person who accidentally stumbles on it once in a while and gets mad because they thought it was Eastern European news. But sorry about your goat. And it's...
we could send them some potatoes, dude.
We could send them potatoes.
Yeah.
That's a currency out there, I think.
I believe
at least if you want to buy a wife.
Right, exactly. It's a nice dowry.
Not in Ireland anymore. Not now. No. This'll never do. Mash, take the ugly one. Anyway, it's fucking odd. It's fucking odd. And as always, is with me, with us, is my salacious producer, Mikey Greenwood.
Salacious.
We come up with a new adjective for him every episode if we can, and I realized I only know about 6 adjectives. So
you're indulging in the salacity.
We've been having, there you go. We've been having a real problem. Salacity. Her name is Salacity. She dances. So thank you very much for listening. Please do watch it if you can, and like, rate, review, and share it. And now we're going to get into just the regular dumb shit that we do. I'm going to start out by saying I'm drinking non-alcoholic beer, right? You're drinking bourbon, classy. You're drinking Sneaky Weasel.
I'm drinking Sneaky Weasel.
Mikey,
cheers.
Mikey just drinks the blood of hobos he finds, but alcoholic hobos. That's how he gets drunk.
I mean, honestly, if you could find a non-alcoholic hobo, you're probably you're rolling in it. Them's worth some money. It's not a lot of
just
a couple loonies around here. Solid toonie at least.
Here's some money for some booze. Oh no, I quit. But quinoa, quinoa is like just a healthy hobo.
It's kombucha and heroin.
Yeah.
That's I'm stuck to those.
Nice mix, but you don't want to get the numbers wrong. You know, it'll get you gassy. And what's on this salad? Heroin. Oh, I'll come back. It's a very you're in Los Angeles. That's a very Los Angeles thing, right?
Heroin. No, you know what
heroin
it is.
On your salad?
Well, not on the salad. No, that's on the side. You have to. It's a couple $dollars extra.
Yeah,
only
a couple bucks.
Only a couple bucks. These days, it's cocaine, but laced with fentanyl.
Oh, nice. Fentanyl. There you go. Right.
That's the LA hot ticket. Hot ticket
cocaine and fentanyl.
Cocaine and fentanyl. Again, though, you got to watch the numbers.
I was gonna say, the big line of fentanyl. You're just sleeping in the green room. What the fuck's going on back here? You can't snort fentanyl, man. Yeah, you can.
One time. You get to snort it one time.
And by the way, kids,
make it count.
Yeah, exactly.
And hey, kids, don't do drugs while you're driving. And
before or after is fine, just not well.
So I haven't been to Los Angeles in a long time because I'm terrified of America right now. Because I don't know if you guys know, your country's on fire.
Yeah, we're kind of from there, man.
I think you're aware of it. Yeah, I think you know what's going on. I think there's a reason you're here. You can stay. The couch pulls out.
You're gonna marry me? Oh, you're married already. Shit.
Yeah. That's fine, man. That's fine. We can do that up here. Canadians marry many people.
Okay. Utah polygamy is brought up to Vancouver. I'm excited.
Utah.
I thought that was more of like a Saskatchewan kind of thing, but I'll tell you, BC. We'll let's go.
Well, the thing about the flatland is if your wife wants to leave, it takes forever. And right, guys, flatland joke. Wouldn't it be crazy if your whole country was just polygamous? But you couldn't stay unless you had 6 wives?
Parts of it are.
But your country? Yeah, I guess so.
No, but they said the whole country.
The whole country. Yeah. But imagine if the whole country was just fucktonia, and you went in, and it was just like, how many wives do you have? And you're like, I've only got the one. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. You need more wives. How many's the president got? 800. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just your hierarchy. That probably is the way it used to work.
Well, that's the thing, though, is like most of the country, especially like the, conservative Bible Belt and everything, they look down on the Mormons, all the polygamy, but at the same time, they're fucking their cousins. So it's like,
exactly.
But as long as they're just fucking them and they're not actually married, then it's totally fine, above board.
I mean, there's not lawyers involved.
They don't like them lawyers.
It's not a law.
Them liars.
It's not a law. It's not a law yet, but it will be soon. So let's keep this under. Let's hide under the hay bales and make mistakes.
Then keep it in the family.
All right, Simon, you want to talk about the states? Let's talk about the states.
I don't want to talk about the states just yet. But you got all horned up and angry. I love it. He's got some bourbon and he got real fucking mad.
I have no opinions.
The funniest thing is that was the most American thing too, because a Canadian would have been like, I mean, we could discuss. You're like, you want to fucking talk about it? Like, let's go. For American. Well, you're from the South too, so that's a totally
Kentucky,
different animal.
Some people will say Kentucky's not the South, and it really just depends on where you are.
Yeah.
I mean, we have civilization. I'm from Lexington. It's a
have
college
bourbon.
town.
You created civilization.
Yeah, well,
as far as
true.
I'm concerned, that's kind of Mecca. So
it is pretty good.
It's pretty fucking
we
great.
baptize people, parts of the state.
No,
in bourbon.
I would be baptized in
not
bourbon.
This Jew boy.
I do it. I'm an atheist, and I'd be baptized in bourbon. Like, I'm gonna baptize you. No fucking way. Well, it's a big.
No, that's a solid.
That's the cover of your next
solid
album.
religion.
You're just soaking in a tub of bourbon.
That's a solid fucking religion. I'm an atheist too, but I'd be down to be born again.
And there's a homeless guy going, "Don't. It's a bad way, man. Stay like me. Be sober."
Born again.
There you go. Thank you.
Hey, there you go.
We did it. Good night, everybody.
I brought the guy with puns.
I do. I got him for days, man.
Yeah,
Canada
wait till you're on the road for 8 hours on the road with this guy. Oh God, no, Max.
Dude, I've toured with him so many times down in fucking Cabo. He's like, after fucking 24 hours, get the fuck out of my apartment.
No, it was. Only I figured out I think 2 weeks is definitely my maximum. One week is a sweet spot to have friends come visit me. A week and a half.
2 weeks.
That's max. That's
I feel like that too. It's like I like that's Maximillian.
Fine, I had to get one in there.
I feel like that's the way it is. Like I'm a very social fellow too, but I'm also like when I travel, I used to like. In the early days, you share hotel rooms with. I can't do that anymore, just because I need. And I think as I get older too, because I have a kid and a wife and everything, and I live in an apartment. I think I just like look forward to the road as like I get this space. And for years, I would travel alone, and so I got used to having this like time where I just listen to audiobooks and just like be like, oh, I've got some time with my thoughts. They're terrifying, but I have time with them. You know what I mean?
Time to cry alone with your thoughts.
Oh, right, I cry. Well, I cry. I don't mind crying out. I'll cry anywhere, Mike. You know me.
Well,
I'll cry on the street.
Dude, I've tried that while I'm driving though. It gets really difficult because they turn on the wipers. They do nothing.
No, they do nothing.
It's all right here.
Yeah, you're just blubbering away.
Yeah.
And then people drive by you. You have to pretend you're singing.
Either that, no, they tailgate. They tailgate you. They come up. They're like, "What the fuck?" Oh.
I think weeping is a good defense mechanism if your guy doesn't like to fight. If you just full on cry at people, so it's like, "Oh, you kick the shit out of you, man." Okay, it's like, fucking hell. Their fist is sliding off your face because of the mucus. That's not good. But yeah, I can't do that. I can't do I just really like that time alone.
I like my alone time too, man.
I like it. Like I get like that. So you spent a long time in Mexico, right?
I did. I kind of leading up to the pandemic. I basically left LA in April of 2019. From like 2006 to 2019, I averaged about 5 to 6 months a year out there.
Oh wow!
And April 2019, I was like, okay, man, it's just not, it's not happening for me.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those guys that left LA going, fuck LA, fuck it. I'm not like, I can't wait to go back. Like, I bet I'll get more done in 2 weeks than I did in 2 years
well,
there,
that's
man.
How I
you know
feel
what
about
I mean?
It too. Yeah, the perspective is sometimes good because I was there and I was there a lot, and I just felt like I got into this grind of I'm doing the same fucking mics. I'm maybe getting a club weekend here and there. What the fuck am I doing? And it wasn't special or interesting. It was just like, oh great, this is my laundromat.
So I basically was on the road for 11 months before the pandemic hit. And I was like, okay, I want to go to New Zealand. I just want to go live there for a couple months, check it out. And then, COVID happened. Yeah. And when Mexico reopened, I was like, man, I ended up back with family in Kentucky. Yeah. God bless, man.
Yeah,
you're an atheist, so but you know what I mean.
Oh, I'm aware.
Darwin bless.
Yeah. Void bless.
Electron bless. Anyway,
Mexico opened, and I'd never been, and I was like, I'm going to Cabo, not Cancun. And I fell in love with it. I see myself down there building a future at some point.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
maybe.
cool.
Yeah, I'm looking into it.
Getting into the cartel?
No, I don't. Well,
do they need writers? I don't know how it works.
If I was. I couldn't really talk about it.
Look, I have to make this speech to the other cartels, and I need it punched up. And you're like, actually, I can help with this. It is something I do. And they're like, that Roy guy knows what the fuck he's doing. This is hilarious. I'm about to kill a guy, and he's laughing. This is great. You know.
If I was if I was a cartel fucking leader and everything, Roy's exactly the last white person I'd go to.
Yeah,
fucking, bald head, goddamn shorts and vest all the time.
It's just a haircut, bro.
No, well, I'm saying, it's not bald. I'm saying with the close cut. Yeah, if anybody's gonna get checked at the border between you and me, it's gonna be you.
Sure,
is what I'm saying. You got Sons of Anarchy going for you and everything. Meanwhile, I have I'm an Eagle Scout. So yeah,
that is true.
Yeah, exactly right.
You know what I do at the border? Cry. I mean, it gets you through.
It gets you through. Right. It's full circle. Call back.
So do you do comedy in Mexico?
There was a little bar down there that there was another guy that I ran into when I went down there because I looked into comedy. Nothing. Couldn't find anything. I'm at a sports bar watching a game, and I hear someone across the street going, "Comedy show, 15 minutes."
What?
And it was Jimmy Shin. I don't know if you know him. He's an Asian comic out of L.A.
No.
Puts on a lot of shows, and I was like, "What the hell?" Okay, I heard it, and I was like, "That's not right."
Yeah.
Then I heard it again. I was like, "Okay, I'm going over there."
Yeah.
So I introduced myself, and he was just doing barking. It's a 20 people maximum in this little bar.
Yeah.
Like a garage door opens and they're open for the day kind of thing. So started doing just kind of shows there, but he left and then I came back. I went on the road for a few months and I came back to Mexico, and that family that owns the business pretty much adopted me. They're
nice.
You can do anything you want here, I was like,
that's
so
fucking great.
I had friends come to. I don't want to be the only comic though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes
that's
I'd go.
tough too.
I would go up with my laptop and just run karaoke and just.
That's fun though.
Just for fun.
Just a performance space to fuck around is nice. Just to have a carte blanche to do something fun.
Yeah.
That's kind of that's what kind of comedy was in the early days too. It wasn't always just stand up because that didn't really exist that way. We're talking the 70s and shit. It was really just literally okay, do something, and that's where you get shit like Andy Kaufman's and shit like that. So
you ever do karaoke?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Good.
Well, when I'm drinking.
I don't have enough comic friends that'll do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, especially my friends who can do impressions.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you don't have to be a good singer. You just get up there and recite Alanis Morissette, One Hand in My Pocket as Christopher Walken. You will fucking destroy. You will destroy.
Karaoke song? Do you have a go-to karaoke song?
Do what?
Do you have a go-to karaoke song?
I have a bunch, man. I always try to challenge myself and pick something I've never sung before, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, Roy's got some pipes, man.
I can see it.
I
was in chorus class with one of the Backstreet Boys in Lexington, Kentucky, Tate's Creek High School. So I can't sing. Yeah, I can't sing. We never talked to each other. Brian Luttrell, actually. Brian Luttrell.
Oh, wow.
We never said a word to each other.
Yeah.
Not one word.
No.
I have zero interaction with that dude.
But just
I knew
by
who he was,
being
but
close. Just osmosis.
Yeah, exactly.
Why am I so good at singing? Backstreet back. Yeah, no, I'll when I'm drinking. I actually sang for the first time ever with a band last in December because I did a show, and then I was way into the bourbon, and then afterwards they were fucking around, and the band had seen the show, and they're like, "Hey, does anyone want to sing?" And a couple of comics knew that I could do some singing, and they're like, "Make him go." And I was like, "I don't want to fucking do this." And they're like, "What do you want to sing?" I'm like, "I don't know, Bare Naked Ladies." Like, "We got it, done. Come on up." And then they learned it as we went, which was pretty amazing. Someone took the video, posted it on Instagram. Stephen Page from the Bare Naked Ladies reposted it. And was
really?
Like, thanks
that's
for
cool.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking amazing.
Awesome.
So from
That's
that drunken stupidity, he's like, "Thanks for belting out this old chestnut, Mr. King." And I was like,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
I literally found out seconds before I went on stage for a show a couple nights later, and I was like, I don't even want to go on stage now. I just want to look at that post again. Because I grew up with those guys.
Just
Right? I was a
basking.
band
Yeah,
partner,
exactly.
Like the Stephen Page. So, do you sing karaoke at all?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
Dude, next time I'm here, you gotta go with me, man.
Seriously.
I'll sing karaoke.
We went the last 2 nights in a row.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Where'd you go?
We went to
They're
the
hosted by
Studio
Vogue around
Lounge,
here.
the Studio Lounge on Granville.
Oh, I know that one.
Which
Yeah,
is it's a
yeah.
nightclub,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I would
yeah.
never go to
Yeah,
when they're
yeah.
doing other shit. But
Right.
the sound system in
Yeah,
there
yeah,
is
yeah.
Super
rock
rad.
star
Yeah, no.
I did a couple of
And the
shows
guy
there.
running
It's
it's
fucking
great.
nuts. It's so well
Oh,
put
dude,
together.
okay, yeah. Even with the high, this was stand up, and even with the high ceiling.
It works really well. And
Right.
I don't know, it was one of those things. Yeah, when you walk in, you're like, this doesn't make sense, but it does because there's the balconies up there
Yes,
too.
exactly.
And, but yeah, they were fucking great. It was really, really good.
Sick.
But, yeah, man, cool.
And then the Sands.
And the Sands
down
Best
Davie.
Western. Yeah.
Oh,
Best Western Sands?
yeah. Fucking
Yeah.
Dude,
good old,
I got,
good old school dirt
That was a
bar.
different crowd. Same KJ, same
Yeah.
karaoke
Yeah.
jockey.
Yeah.
But different crowd from Granville down to the Sand. Wow.
He's using
Dude,
the lingo.
I got-
I've never heard the term KJ before. I love that.
It is.
Yeah,
KJ. That's a
Karaoke jockey.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
No, I got some handshakes, some applause.
Oh, nice. That's pretty
I
good.
felt really privileged and honored.
right,
I was
that's
like,
awesome.
"Thank you, Canada. You guys are so very welcoming. All of the stereotypes are true."
We're also easily entertained. We
Yeah,
don't get a
also,
lot.
yeah.
And basically up here, a credit is he's from America, and we're all like, what? Like, literally, Canada in
That's a credit.
stand-up at least, geography is a credit, and I'm not fucking kidding. There'd be people who be like, he just got back from New York. He was visiting, and he went and saw Hamilton. He's not fucking. He just comes up and does
Amazing.
5 minutes of shit jokes, and it was like, he's got to be better than us.
No, but wait, sorry.
Oh, that's
Still,
so not
because
true,
like
bro.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, there were like 4 years there.
Yeah.
Where maybe we didn't have like the best reputation.
Oh no,
in the world.
the Canadians, like, there's a funny thing
They
about
know.
Canada is, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
The thing about Canada is, there's nothing we love more than pretending we're not very much like America, and there's nothing we love more than American shit. Like, I had a manager tell me once, he's like, you know, the best thing you could do, he's like, because we were talking about like trying to get a show up here, and he goes, the best thing you could do is get on one season of some shit MTV show and get kicked off for something. You'll work for the rest of your life in Canada. And I'm like, yeah, it's fucking true. It's fucking true. With fucking Screech from Saved by the Bell made us fucking living up here for years. And we're all
shit.
like, that guy? And everyone's like, yeah. We're like, he's an American.
Whatever happened to that guy?
He stabbed to death or something?
Oh, maybe
Was
he
he
did
stabbed
die.
to death? I think
He's
he's
dead.
himself,
right?
He's dead for sure.
He's dead, but
Yeah.
he was in a porno at one point.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
that was
That's a sign things are going
weird
well.
cookie. Yeah.
when you're a child star and you're in a porno, that's usually not a good sign unless you're really committed to the porno. Like, look, man, it's the only way I'm getting this film made. All right, and it's like, whoa, what the fuck is it about?
Straight to
It's
DVD.
about Oppenheimer, and this is it's like some weird like.
Nolan's about to do it. We need to release
Yeah,
our
we
version
need to
first,
do
so
it.
they're copying.
Ours is called the Big Bang 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 Bang. Splitting the Atom Sisters, and
Bravo! That was
I may not,
highbrow.
it may not be good, but I'm fast.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Well, that's
I'd
fucking
love
great.
to get
So-
you in with some clubs in the South, man, but you might have to drop the highbrow just a little bit.
Hey, guys,
Test the water.
Who likes triangles? Fuck you, liberal. All right, we're a circle crowd. The thing is, though, as I used to have a joke about this, is like it really sucks the stereotype for the Southern people because there's so many great people from the South, but it must really fucking suck because that accent is one of those things where it just automatically pigeonholes you.
Sure.
Like, you could be the smartest person in the world and be like, I'm telling you now, the universe is a fucking ellipse,
I know.
okay, and it's constantly expanding. You're like, get the fuck out of here.
I have friends like that. My buddy Matt Simpson, we've known each other 31 years, man.
Yeah.
And people hear him talk, and he talks like this, man. He is country. But he's like, he's just got wisdom beyond his years. He's
Yeah.
just, he's a hillbilly Jedi. He's a Yoda of y'all.
I love the idea of
I started
hillbilly
talking
Jedi.
about him on
Y'all
stage.
shouldn't have
actually.
come back now, you hear?
Is Hillbilly Jedi is that HJ for short? Is that what
HJ?
that is? Yeah, like a
Sure.
solid
We can
HJ.
abbreviate.
Hillbilly Jedi is also a great WWE wrestler.
Is it?
Hillbilly
Sounds like it, right?
Wouldn't that be great? He just comes in,
Be good name, good band name.
but he has a real lightsaber and just mercilessly kills. No one wants to wrestle this guy.
He doesn't have. Sorry, if he's a Jedi,
He doesn't even touch you.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Just and you're down.
Lifts you up and slams you.
Yeah, it's just,
Game
but
over.
Hillbilly Jedi is also a guy who thinks he has the Force because he can turn on one of those hand dryers.
Come on, you've never walked into an automatic door and like waved your hand and pretended it was
Fuck
all
yeah.
the time.
Yeah, I'll do that all the time.
Especially when I'm
man.
drinking.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but for me, when I'm drunk, it's like, it's like, what's he doing? He's trying to open the door,
Security's
but it's not one of
behind the
those
door
doors.
going, no, keep it locked. Keep it locked. Don't let him in.
It's not one of those doors. It's just me trying to get into a 7-Eleven. Why is it not opening? It's not a magic door, idiot. So how long have you been in Los Angeles for then?
Majority of my adult life.
Oh,
Actually,
okay,
it was 15 years this past August.
Wow,
Yeah.
holy shit.
But like, vast majority in Southern California. I had a stint up outside of Sacramento. I was in Maryland for a few months, but yeah, vast majority was between Santa Barbara.
So how long have you been a stand-up for then?
Over a decade. If you count the past 2 years, COVID, all that jazz.
It has to count, unfortunately.
I mean, whatever. 13. Call it 13 years, but
I checked
like
my stats
11 before. Yeah. I mean, it's like, it is what you make of it, and it's also like, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, like, fucking, I've been like really pounding it for like 5 years, and so I'm a 5 year. No, like, I'm going to be fucking honest, because like, why the fuck, try to bear the fucking lead with like, oh, I'm this, but no, why aren't you on anything? I don't know, because fuck you. That's why.
That's the worst.
When I was
see on Netflix.
I was a comic for like 6 months when I started, and then I basically went down to like one show a month for like 2 years because I had work and other shit, and I just wasn't. And then when I came back to it, I came back fully dedicated in August 2002, and then since then it's been up until COVID, it was like 300, 400 shows a year, like every fucking year, like thousands of shows. Awesome. And I was just a grind guy. And then when COVID happened, I was like, oh man, this is a nice opportunity again to take a little break. But then I did think to myself, I'm like, it doesn't feel like I'm doing it if I'm not doing 2 or 3 shows a night, like on the fucking. And then I thought about it. I thought, well, that first 2 years, or year and a half, 2 years, whatever, that I took off, do count. So I figured COVID counts. But it also, I think everybody looks at it and is like realistic. I mean, look. Comedy's not one of those things where we're posting stats like baseball or some shit. Like, it's not anyone's looking at it and going, well, technically you've done this many years, so you should have this many. No one gives a shit about that. Yeah. It matters to what creative process you get. And I've talked to a lot of comedians. I don't know how you guys feel, how you feel, Mikey, about it. But like, when COVID happened, and actually gave a lot of comics a break they needed to get some perspective on what they were doing, because it's so easy to get lost in especially when it becomes the way you live. Like, it's like, I gotta write jokes because I gotta get a special out because I need residuals because I don't have a retirement plan because and it's like, instead of thinking about like, what do I want to say, it's like, what do I have to say to get this to work? And all of a sudden, for that first little bit of COVID particularly, my Facebook feed or whatever, well, I was off Facebook by then, but all my social media wasn't filled with reminders of what I wasn't doing, what I wasn't getting, where I wasn't, which brings out that ugly competitiveness that I don't like, but unfortunately exists inherent in pretty much every comic because it has to.
So LA is a stupid fucking cutthroat area.
Yeah.
It's just like.
It says that on the sign.
Exactly. Right. Welcome to LA. Fuck you, that's why. And no, I came up in Santa Barbara, and I started out at UC Santa Barbara in the show that they were putting on, and we would have like headline comics.
That's where I met him.
Exactly. Okay, cool. And I met Roy probably within my first year doing it, so I've known him for vast.
And you still wanted to keep doing it.
I know. Right? He was. I saw him, and I was like, "Fucking, I could do this shit."
Yeah.
And
what? What the fuck?
He's under being a KJ. He doesn't even know Kentucky Jew. And sorry, Kentucky Jew.
Yeah. Well, only one of us made $50 that night.
Hey, that's true.
And it was a server.
Yeah, guess who was fucking paying you? Anyway, but I started out there. I was a student, and then I got into like the scene up there that, I mean, it was like burgeoning and everything. And like, you wouldn't assume that Santa Barbara has anything, but no, we like over the past 10, 15 years, we fostered a community of comics up there. And
he co-produced shows, like the kind of shows that you leave LA going, oh my god, I'm so glad I'm doing this. Yeah, like you're like, finally, you're just like,
we had a bunch of fucking comics that would come through and be like, I fucking love your show. Like,
oh man, some of those kept me going when I was living in LA, just to get the fuck out of the city and do a good show. Exactly, around comics.
And that's what we were fucking pleased to offer, because LA, you get shit time, and like you're doing the same mics like you were just saying earlier. But with this one, it's like you get out, you can do longer time, you get paid for it, you actually get audiences that are smart and want to be there, etc. There's no oversaturation, etc. And so that community and everything was like really nurturing, and it really fostered growth. And it was like, hey, like, we're all in this together. This is what you should do. This is kind of how you should go about it. It wasn't like, oh, this is exactly how your joke should be. It was like, if a comic came to you, you'd be like, oh, like, I like your shit. I would personally, and this is my style, I would say this, and it would get, maybe something planted, germinating over there, and so they would think of their own thing. LA is just like, again, like, fuck you, that's why. And so
it's combative. It's just by the nature of the people that are there too. And I think as the desperation kicks in, at least for me, it was like seeing, because I was there during the first time I was there for a long time was during the financial crisis. And when the financial crisis kicked in, everything fucking fell apart, and the whole industry collapsed, and you could just see this level of like people hate fucking comedy. They were so angry and didn't know what to do with themselves, and they were doing the same sets again and again, just desperate for. Because this was also before the internet and self-propelled shit really took off.
Sure.
So there was no other way.
Yeah,
it was like the ship we were on was sinking, and we were all fucking aware of it, and it didn't matter how many rats you climbed over. There's no way out. So having supportiveness,
that's a visual. Holy shit!
Having a supportive scene changes
one
that
of
for
my
comics.
comedy cohorts based in Santa Barbara, this guy Andre Belikov.
Yeah.
How he described the pandemic was like, it's the greenest of the green and the low end of the headliners that like drop out because they're like, fuck, this isn't sustainable.
Yeah.
But all the rest of us were like, we're gonna fucking take this time, we're gonna write,
Yeah.
we're gonna reflect, we're gonna develop our shit. And I certainly think my fucking comedy is better for it.
Yeah.
Not to say that I was ever funny, but I'm just saying like it's probably a little bit better.
Well,
Like,
you'll
a
fit
little-
in great here.
Yeah, exactly.
How soon after all this happened did you get back to doing comedy? I know it's your show, but I'm asking a
No,
question.
hey, that's fine. It's not really my show. Mike just lets me in here because he doesn't like me on the street.
Oh, it does say Simon King podcast.
That's how you spell it?
Anyway.
Skip for short.
You guys started much later than the States, right? Or parts of it.
Well, it was kind of weird. Like, so the way it kind of worked here was like, so I recorded a special at the end of 2019.
All right.
And so as soon as I record a special, I dump pretty much all that material and write. But you know me, I write on stage. So for me, it was like, if I'm not on stage, I'm not writing. I was doing road gigs until the beginning of March, and shit started to fall apart, and we realized something was going on. And so bookers started to preemptively just start to pull stuff, which for me, too, as a guy who exists, basically I'm self-propelled, I do my own shows, I sell tickets and stuff, I was able to keep doing some. But then there came a point when I realized, I'm like, well, let's back this off for a bit. And then COVID hit, and then Canada just fucking shut down. We just shut down March, like right before, like St. Patrick's Day, basically. We just shut the fuck down.
I was catching a bunch of news from up here.
And then we just did not fucking do anything. Because when it first happened, it was a lot of like, well, we don't really know what's going on, so let's just shut it down. And we don't have the same division. We don't have the same population, so we don't have the same division. And we have a lot of like we were just like, let's pull together and do this, and it was because we had the support system our government put in, which was like for a lot of gig economy people and stuff, there was like a couple grand a month that would keep you. I mean, it was enough.
Really?
Once you realize
we get one check down there, and they're like, hey, cool.
Once you realize
survive, buddy.
Once you realize
Thank
a lot
God
of the money
for
you
family.
spend as a comic, yeah, exactly. But once you realize a lot of the money that you spend as a comic is actually doing comedy, like paying for flights, paying for shit. So that really helped.
Yeah.
There was some savings. I got through, and then I looked at it, and I was like, it was in that part where it was kind of stopping and starting a little bit. And I had this mentality of like, once I got through the first 2 weeks of not being able to do shows, because that literally is the longest I had not done shows in 18 years at that point.
Good on you. That's awesome.
And so I was like, okay. So I realized, I'm like, if I can weather this, if I go back a little bit and it gets shut down again, I'm gonna go fucking bonkers. So my son was 3.5 at the time, so I'm like, I'm just gonna focus on full-time dadding. I've got a little bit of money left over. We'll be okay. We can get through this. My wife works. We're okay. And so it was like, basically, I did one show in August of that year, and then I did a couple shows. Things opened up a bit in November, and I did a couple of. But the first time I had done anything more than about 10 minutes since I did one show in August. I think I did one show in October, maybe 10 minutes each, and then I think I did an hour in November a couple times, and then that was it. And then I didn't work again until
How
August
weird was that,
2021.
though, like, for you? Like, I'll tell you about me. Like going
weird.
back up for. Did
It
you
was
panic?
weird.
Were you like freaking out the whole day?
I thought I
was.
would. Here's what happened. It was weirdly like it was like it went from like, it's like when you haven't seen someone you really like in a long time, or like you haven't seen a family member or something, you're like, oh man, I can't believe it, and you get a little nervous, and then as soon as you're there, it's like boom, it's like
exactly.
It's like kicked
Riding
in.
a fucking
I
bike.
freaked myself out
Yeah.
for nothing. My first gig back was like mid-June.
Yeah.
Right, and it was a weekend gig. I was headlining. I was like, it would almost be better if I was just emceeing or middling to kind of ease back into. But I was like, so I don't know about if you guys do this. I call it going to the game tape. Like I got to go back and watch shows that I've recorded just to remind myself, just to go, oh, dude, come on, you know this. Just listen to it a few times. You got this. But I was like that. But as soon as I got up there, I was like, psh, okay.
Yeah, dude, when I'm on the way to feature headline sets, then I'm like, I'm listening to the voice recordings that I have of other ones, and I'm like, oh right, there's that tag, there's that one, and that flows into that, and then when I'm up there, everything flows.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, there's
Like,
for me, it was a really weird spot too, because I had dumped all that material and I hadn't done it in so long I couldn't remember it, because I never record my sets, I never watch my sets.
Okay.
That first year off, I was editing the special, so that kind of kept me going.
Sure.
But I also became like really jaded about that material and fucking hated it because I'd seen it. It took almost a year in post because I couldn't get to the editor couldn't get to me. We're doing it all like handwritten note style. Our director, Rory Scovel, wasn't able to be here to see it. We weren't able to see. So it was a lot of things like that made it very difficult. So once that special came out, then I started to feel like now I have nothing comedy related to do. Like I just have nothing to do. Yeah. And so getting back on stage, the first time I did an hour on the road was August 2021. And I got up there, couldn't remember my old act, only had about 20 minutes of my new act, which luckily I had kind of was in my head because I was working on it. Mm-hmm. No fucking idea what I was going to do. And I was just like, well, fucking run your yap. And I did. And the first 10 minutes was shaky as shit, man. It was like real tightrope walking because I'm like, but then it was like just tried to get going by talking to the crowd and fucking around a bit. And they were rowdy as shit, which works for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
I was admired that about you. Your improv skills are great. I'm a little more planned. I mean, I'll address something in the moment if it happens, but like I'm a writer, like I want to. I write the song. I'm annoyed when a band gets up, and they're like, they give me a diatribe about like, this is a song about the time my dad went to go cigarettes and never came back and fucking like shut up, just play the song. Play the song about Taylor Swift. Time your dad never came back. Like just write the song. I don't want to hear this fucking speech.
Well, it should speak for itself too, and also because of the way my brain works, and I get very bored very quickly. So I routinely will do a bit for 2 weeks, and then when I feel like it's good enough, I'll just fucking forget about it. Which means I've thrown away so much shit that I should be working on. That what I did do is I went back and looked at some of that stuff because I knew what I wanted to make this hour, and it's kind of on its way there now. But I also knew like, well, I've probably got some, because I just will write down a premise basically. Yeah. But it's like, it doesn't matter if I remember that joke. I remember that I was thinking about that, and I'll go that way. And so that the first time I made it across the line very comfortably in what I believed was what I was doing before COVID was November of 21. I did some shows in a place called Nanaimo, which I have a good fan base for. And so most of the people in the audience got me and knew. Okay. So I didn't have to worry too much. I could really just relax. And once I relaxed into it, I was like, okay, we hit the line.
So you were well after a year before the first time you got back on stage.
I was really, like
3 months?
Yeah, and then we had more booked, and then they canceled out again. So and we thought we were home free in February of this year. We had an Eastern tour booked. I'd never been to PEI and places like I really wanted to go. We had tickets were sold out some of the shows, and I was like, this is gonna be fun, great. Gone, canceled, and so that just left me so gun shy that I was like, fuck it, man. I'm just gonna wait until. And then now I don't think we're going back that way now until the monkeypox. So
Jesus. Yep.
Fucking hell. But yeah, so how did road work pick back up for you guys in the States? Like there were some places that didn't shut down, right?
I mean,
everyone shut down.
Yeah. Well, sorry.
But some places came back soon.
Exactly.
Florida.
South Florida, exactly. I had a lot of comic friends that were like, I'm just fucking doing it out there. That's all there is.
Yeah.
I did a bunch of early gigs in Florida, but I was wearing my mask. I wasn't shaking hands anymore.
Dude, I was down.
The MC's wiping the mic down.
The first time I went over to Miami, I was. This was March 2021, and I had already gotten the vaccine because I work for LA Public Health, and so I was right there with the geriatrics. I mean, I got mine first shot in January.
Out of the way, old fucks.
It was pretty fucking insane. But then I'm riding the plane over to fucking Spirit. Over to Miami, and then as soon as I get out of Fort Lauderdale, like I'm double masked and everything. Yeah. Nobody is wearing a goddamn thing. Nothing, no PPE, absolutely nothing. I'm surprised that they maybe wear condoms.
They don't.
And
you see the population differential?
Right. That's true. That's goddamn true. They teach abstinence only, which I mean, look at the population over there. It works.
Clearly works. Totally. Everyone just can control themselves.
Yeah, no, it was fucking unreal. I mean, night and day between LA and Miami. My God.
America, like the United States, seems to me very much, and I've traveled some of it, not all of it, obviously, but from an observational point of view, from a distance, it seems like 3 or 4 distinct countries that exist together in one place, and they seem to have generally quite similar sensibilities about some things and very different sensibilities. Like the fact that a virus became politicized in that way is bonkers. Yeah. It's just a ridiculous thing. It's like there's a lot of shit. I can even understand why the environment was politicized because Al Gore did a thing. He was connected to the Clintons. Everyone then became a political issue. And you could argue that it's economic, whatever. I can see that through line. Sure. With the virus, I don't get that at all.
What's remarkable there is that...
Yeah, but you're forgetting one thing.
What?
Look who was president while it all happened.
Well, but that's what I was going to say. It's interesting because you had the anti-vaxxers that were like this stupid far-left contingent that were just fucking far-left wackadoos. And then it became the far-right. And you're like... you realize all these people that are fucking anti-vaxxers, like, you wouldn't goddamn be here. Your parents wouldn't be here if it wasn't for vaccines. We wouldn't have the world we have.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like, fuck you and your, like, privilege in the way of just, like, you goddamn don't know because you weren't there, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, the vaccine was rolled out a little quick. I mean, but I weighed the pros and cons, and I wanted to come to Canada.
But that's
and I know
not.
you guys wouldn't let me in without it.
The idea about it being rolled out quick is correct in some regards, but the idea of an mRNA vaccine had been worked on for over a decade.
Cancer,
as it came from SARS and avian flu back in the late 2000s.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, it had been there.
Yeah, and they've been working on that for cancer treatments and a lot for years and years and years. I mean, the idea of like, I personally think, because my son's 5, almost 6, and I personally think that the world he's going to live in medicine-wise is going to be so different. Because up until recently, until the last sort of 30, 40 years, we've just been kind of treating the symptoms and helping our bodies fix ourselves.
Sure.
And all of a sudden now we're like, oh, no, we can treat the cause. We can change the basis of how this, where we can alter the things that are attacking us. I mean, HIV is a great example. I mean, we technically cannot cure viruses yet in that way, but HIV is essentially, do you hear about that guy who got monkeypox, COVID, and HIV on one trip?
Oh my God.
Yeah, Italian guy. This is a fucking hilarious.
Where did he go?
He fucked off to Spain.
Okay, never going to Spain.
He was fucking a bunch of dudes, and then he came back 2 days later, and he's like, I had a tummy ache and a fever, and the doctor's like, holy mamma mia, and he's got all of them. And I'm like, at that point, you're thinking, well, HIV is not so bad, but the other ones, you know what I mean?
I was going to say, with HIV, they have, early clinical trials, but a couple of cures.
Yeah.
Like they've cured people, which is fucking insane.
Well, and also the funny thing about viruses too, as with bacteria, and certain people like very small population, it doesn't affect them. Yep. Like some people spontaneously cure themselves from HIV and have done it numerous times. I remember reading a case study of a South African prostitute, and she'd had HIV infected 3 times, and 3 times her body had cleared it. 3 times.
God.
Whoa.
And the whole time I'm like, what the fuck?
That's insane.
Like, also, fool me once. You know what I mean?
Okay, sorry. If you're gonna have an incidence of HIV, it's gonna be Africa, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because unfortunately, and that's why they do a lot in the way of this is how a condom works, as opposed to Florida, where they're like, this is how the Bible works.
I keep hitting my dick with the Bible. I still got spots. I don't know why.
Out, demon. The power of Christ compels you.
Look, I was not being lewd in public. I was exorcising my demons from my groinal area next to the kids' pool.
There's nothing in the 10 Commandments, all right, about beating your meat and about wearing none of them condoms.
10 commandments. And thou shalt wrap it up. But yeah, sorry, I cut you off because I'm an asshole.
No. I'm just saying. There are, so I've been thinking about this, and I actually, back in college, fucking 15 years ago, I was telling a coworker of mine, because we both went to the same college, both worked at the same retail spot, and he was like a history major, and meanwhile my background's a bit in bio, and I'm like, it's going to be that the average human lifespan gets, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary in within 100 years to have people living to 150, and he was like, no. And I was like, no, that's scientific fucking fact.
Yeah.
At the same time, you have that shit coupled with fucking anti-vaxxers and all these things, and man-made global warming. So it's like, I don't know if I want to live 150. That doesn't
it
sound
will become
fun
a
at
curse. Like, it's one of those things where what's happening is okay, so my great aunt, she died in 2007. She was 107. My grandpa just died recently. He was 96 and a half, and he was fine until he just one day wasn't there.
Sure.
And so these are people who were born, we don't actually know quite how long people live. We know Jean Calment, who died in 1997, was 122. So theoretically, there is a possibility there for humans to live unassisted into their 120s.
Exactly.
So with medical technology, if we get to the point, so say your heart becomes, which is the number one reason people die is heart problems. So say your heart becomes, say you have a cardiopulmonary issue or whatever. You get to the point where you require a transplant.
Sure.
But now, instead of a transplant from another donor and you being on immunosuppressants for the rest of your life and everything, all of a sudden they grow your own heart again, they shove it back in there, you got a brand new fucking heart that your body doesn't know any difference of. All of a sudden that heart's pumping better, your system's working better. It's different.
Keith Richards goes to wherever he can basically get it done, which is probably Eastern Bloc or somewhere around, and he gets, I swear to God, he gets like young blood. Like he gets an entire fucking blood transfusion and just young people because it's healthier blood.
Yeah.
And they're undoing aging in like mice and everything. So it's something we can actually fucking do.
Which, quite frankly,
this
we
is
have
true.
enough mice that don't need to live longer.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
No. Keith Richards, you can look it up.
Have you heard this before?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of this before. I've heard there's a
like
lot
when
of
it comes
stem
to like
cell
drinking the blood of the innocent, like there's actually merit to
Real
it.
Elizabeth Thacker.
Don't drink it, but like if you actually, if you do it in
maybe
vitro,
Republicans
fucking
are
we
onto
don't
something.
we don't actually have to die. Like there is no real reason we die other than the fact that Mother Nature's like, and there needs to be more room. So theoretically, there's no reason for you to stop fixing yourself. Everything in your body, you have all the materials you need to repair yourself, or you can get those materials, but just don't do it anymore. And then all of a sudden, you're looking at the situation where it's like, well, if we can just roll back the clock on your immune system, roll back the clock on your cardiovascular system, all of a sudden your cell replication gets better and the cells are stronger. What? We're turning to the fucking Rogan podcast. What are we doing?
I was about to say, I was about to bring it back and be
Jamie,
like, hopefully by the time I'm 150, I'll actually have some fucking jokes.
But they'll all
At
be.
some point.
I think it's easy to get canceled now. Imagine if you're 150.
Oh
That's what they called themselves then. We were allowed to. The green hair people said.
I think that by that time.
Oh no, sorry. Give it like 100 years, you could actually have blue lives, and then they'd actually matter.
Yeah.
People just doing full pigmentation.
Blue lives matter, and they're delicious. That's really weird.
You could actually fuck a green chick like Shatner. I'm just saying.
The question is like, too, if this is going to be a thing, and if because I watched a TED Talk on longevity, it was really interesting, and it basically saying like the first person to live to 500 might already be alive. 500.
500?
Yeah. Well, okay, but sorry, are they talking about in a body? Because there's backing up to like a Black Mirror, San Junipero kind of thing and that's what all the fucking rich assholes want to do.
Well, that's the thing, you got that Neuralink shit, which can't be a problem at all. Because I've seen the way people use phones. I'm sure Neuralink's gonna be fine. Right? Can you imagine just sleeping and getting pop-ups in your head? No, I don't want to.
Have you seen?
In your dreams,
not digging your dream. Click here.
Simon, Roy, Mike. If you guys haven't seen it, and everybody watching at home, if you haven't, there's a short sci-fi short called Hyperreality. It's fucking terrifying. It is basically like ocular implants, and it's just you're on a bus, you're in the market. Everything is there, all pop-ups, everything, and then once it gets disconnected, this woman's like, I can't do anything. Like because you don't see prices, you don't see there's just nothing. So it's just, but it's all there all the time.
Yeah, no, dude. I'm already leery about fuck robots. You know what I mean?
Not me. I'm all in on that.
That's gonna be the best part of it all.
Is that cheating if she's robotic? And then if it is cheating, does that fully pass the Turing test?
Well, the question is,
she's fully sentient.
You wouldn't download a car, would you? But a girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
Just torrenting a girl. That seems fucking wrong.
You get a fucking virus.
Well, we're at that point now where we're not there yet, but people want to fuck robots, but we're at the laser disc part of it. We're not there yet. So it's just a Roomba with tits on that someone's chasing around the apartment. It's just not good yet.
What is it? Like Betamax pussy?
We're not there. We're not quite advanced enough yet. It's like real pixelated and shit. But in 20 years from now, I'm gonna be like, I can't believe that we thought those were good fuck robots. It's like steam coming out of it, one extra arm. Someone love me.
Somebody, back in the day, early IBM, somebody was like, I'm going to put a hole in the side of the ENIAC.
People 100% fuck the game Simon. For sure. Just the beeping.
Somebody put a hole in the back of the first Pong unit. And they were like a nice, that and some like a cantaloupe.
Pong fucker. What time is it, Mike? Is it time?
Yeah, we're about 45 minutes.
Okay, well, let's do it. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Let's get random. Bing, 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 bing. You guys don't know what this is. And that's the best part about this. Is what this is.
Where are the balloons?
Like your shit's going to fall down. You're going to win a car.
The dog's going to drop on you.
What this is far less exciting and interesting. So about a year ago, I was on the internet and looking. I found a conversation starter for people with social problems. I thought it was hilarious. And it turns out most comedians have fucking social problems. So we decided what we would do is it's a random topic generator. And you can select like for family or friends, business. Hey, just talking to someone on the bus. So what we thought would be funny, just every time we have guests on, to do a few randoms and see what the fuck it comes up with. Some of them are horrendous. Some of them are terrifying. Some of them are really funny.
Donald Glover got his Childish Gambino as a Wu-Tang Clan name generator.
Was it? Yeah,
so,
that's pretty good. Well, I think this is how Leno used to write his monologues.
Bill Clinton and fat.
All right, we'll go with the first one here is, do you believe in ghosts and why?
All right.
Cool. Okay, I'll take it. I'll field it.
Yeah, let's go this way.
You know, I will say yes and no because I'm super fucking controversial and I have my own opinion. You know, because I'm super like atheist and all that jazz, and I'm like, oh, science explains everything. I wouldn't be. I'm of the mind that if you do see some kind of ghost, and actually the same thing with like deja vu in your dreams, it's actually just kind of like dimension hopping or parallel timeline hopping.
Yeah,
so
like that too.
it could be like that our own timeline or another timeline is kind of diverging. So that's why you see like somebody from like the fucking 18th century,
the wall between
and
it's
they
a little
have
thinner.
nothing to do. Yeah, exactly. And then deja vu is you jumping into a consciousness of another one of yourselves for like a split second. And that's why you can be then in that moment and you know all the sights and sounds and everything, and you can kind of change that course. Like I can actively be like, I know what's going to happen if I do this, I'll do this. Yeah. And that's my explanation for both.
I like that.
That's pretty amazing.
That's pretty good. Good awesome explanation. Roy? Beat that.
Buckle up, fuckers.
Yeah, exactly.
Takes a sheet out. No, Roy, no.
No,
He turns into a ghost.
I agree. I agree with what he's saying. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It is it a ghost? Is it dimension?
Yeah.
You know, transfer, whatever, blending together. I lived in a building when I was 19 years old. I had 2 experiences. So yeah, I mean,
Wow.
Dude, sorry.
but
you want me to go into
divulge.
it? Yeah, no.
You
Okay.
lived in a building? What kind of building?
I was downtown Lexington, Kentucky.
Oh, it's just exciting for me.
Yeah,
I don't
now
care
it's
about the
like
ghost part.
my
Nice.
second apartment. My first apartment by myself, actually.
Okay.
But
Oh, wow.
okay,
Old building? Old building? Like just
It was an old
like
building.
a spooky
yes,
old building?
Yes.
Fuck,
In fact,
What are we
people-
talking, like
people
100
actually,
years old?
ambulances showed up actually and took people away when I lived there. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Like
yeah.
like a 100-year-old building, the actual structure?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it's an old ass
okay,
building.
okay.
And it would take like 2, 3, even 4, maybe 5 minutes for the hot water to get hot. So I would always let it run for a few minutes. And it was one of those faucets where like you had to physically, like move it.
Yeah.
And I let it run. And I'm in the kitchen doing something, waiting for the water to get, and it just shuts off. I was like, did the water just die? No, I went back in and turned it back on. That's not okay, so same apartment. A buddy of mine worked at a restaurant down the street. And I was like, hey, what are you doing tonight? He's like, hey, when I get off work, you want to come over? Yeah, come on. We'll have a few beers, chill, listen to some heavy metal, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I got to get up the next morning early. I was like, all right, I'll set my alarm clock. It's an efficiency. So he's in a sleeping bag on the floor. We crash out. And you know those little electronic clocks with the digital numbers?
Yeah.
Boom, we're awake. And it's like flashing numbers. And I hear the radio, like, yeah, welcome to yeah. And we both wake up, and I'm looking down at him, he's looking at me, I'm like, what the fuck? And I reach over and I hit the alarm clock, shut it off. I wake up the next morning, he's gone to work. We don't talk until the next week. And then I'm like, dude, what the fuck happened? What? We're both at the same time. We're like, what the fuck was that last week? And I told him what I remembered. He had more memory. He said the room was bright.
Oh.
And he said he actually saw the needle on the clock moving back and forth. I don't remember that, but I do remember it sounding like it was going through stations.
Yeah.
So there you go. I don't know. How do you explain that? How do you?
You can't explain it.
On
You
my
can't
life,
explain
bro.
that.
Like this is what
Dude,
fucking
that's-
happened.
How the I've known you for fucking a decade, and this is the first time I'm hearing this?
We've never driven 10 hours at night through Montana and telling ghost stories like me and some other comic
Dude,
buddies.
that sounds rad.
Jesus fucking Christ.
That's insane, dude.
But that shit happened. Like, I can't put that out of my head. So when people are like, there's nothing to it, I'm like, I don't know about that.
That's weird.
That's awesome, man.
I don't have all the answers, but
That's awesome.
I thought I was a ghost for a while. Because my agent would always be like, who? You know? Like, definitely a ghost, right?
It's either you're a ghost or your agent's an owl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they're the best agents. They work hard at night.
They do.
Yeah, they're good.
And they know how to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll.
The only problem is, though, every time you come visit me on set, just pellets everywhere. You know what I mean?
But you look through those, you see some fight. Like, they're really interesting. Did I
a
sack
lot
like
of
a fucking?
cufflinks with the LA Owls. Just the worst sports team is the LA Owls. It's a day game? No.
That's the ghost hunters portion of the show.
I think that ghost thing. I think that's actually. I think to me, I think human beings. So we. I think we're mammals and we're prey animals too, and we have a heightened sense of instinct and stuff and senses that we're not fully aware of and we don't acknowledge, and a lot of us don't. I mean, the society we've constructed for ourselves gives us basic rules on what we think about ourselves and what we know, and we don't actually really look into old school instincts and what we have. And I think there's a combination of a few things there, and I think some people more than others, I think, have an ability to perceive things that are slightly different. And I think the scientific explanation is like what you said. I think it's honeycomb theory, and I think it's the walls between certain things, particularly dimensions or time. I mean, everything that's out of sync by half a second or a millisecond or whatever, that wall is just a little bit thinner sometimes. However, I don't think that what we're seeing is that. I think that is kicking off an implanted idea of what's there. And so that's why you don't see caveman ghosts. That's why you always see people, it's never just like some guy from the office, hey, my name's Leroy, I'm going to the copier, you want anything? What a shitty ghost, just a boring ghost.
Oh my God.
It's like,
well, it's supposed to be, I mean, there's the whole idea of like, it's supposed to be like a traumatic experience, and there's something maybe there, like if there's like some heightened thing, then maybe that trauma or whatever could potentially break or thin a wall or whatever. Yeah. But I have heard of like, if you are out in the middle of, the desert somewhere, and like I remember I actually am an Eagle Scout, and I was backpacking, 15 years old, middle of New Mexico, and there were Anasazi Indian writings, which are like, or Native American, I should say, indigenous people, and I mean, these are thousands and thousands of years old, like there have been stories of people being like, I've seen that shit. And so, like, that's really fucking cool. Yeah. Because it's not just, some, lady in waiting.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's much more rare than, I think it's much more, but I think there are examples. Look, I think it's like people will be like, how come my dog knows I'm coming home? Like an hour before I get home, my dog fucking knows. Well, there's a certain level of perception that maybe, I mean, some of it's coincidence, some of it, but there is a certain level of perception that we don't have. It's like that old thing of like, which is not scientifically accurate at all, but if you could use your whole brain, you'd never know what you could do if you could use your whole brain, because you don't use your whole brain. Well, that doesn't exactly...
You use 10% of your brain. If you could switch on the other 90%, you could become Lucy.
It's just like so stupid, but the idea of like... there's a lot of things that we don't quite understand. There's things like dreaming is not just when you're asleep. That can kick in when you're awake, and that can be responsible thing. You're not asleep. You're fully awake, but you also, your brain is going, give it a second, I'm just fucking working on this file, and that shit pops up. So there's lots of different reasons to explain these things, and I mean, part of me really kind of would like there to be like ghosts and shit like that. I think there is, if you think of it like that. If you think ghosts in a scientific sense, like I did a podcast a long time ago, back when it was just me talking, I was like, what an atheist definition of the soul is. Like what a soul would be to an atheist. And in my summation, it was the soul is the intangible collection of the experiences and who you are and what, like all the, never mind the thing outside the mechanical, whatever it is that we, and there's chemical reasons and biological reasons why we do this, but those things are undefinable once you get past a certain point. And so that's what I think the same thing sort of exists for ghosts or whatever it is, that there is a scientific reason why it happens, but the interpretation and everything is what you make of it. And that's one of the beauties of being a human, is that we have these questions. Dogs don't think like this. Dogs aren't like, hey,
one thing I was going to say is,
but we don't know,
in a way of like perception and what is perceptible, because dogs see with different cones, rods, and everything that we do, but then they also hear and smell, in heightened relative to us. And then, and there are all these different eyes that exist across the animal kingdom. Do you guys know about mantis shrimp?
Man, I like mantis shrimp.
Mantis shrimp.
My son's favorite animal is the mantis shrimp.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Unreal. They can punch. They punch like crabs and everything. Their prey at such velocities. And pistol shrimp, mantis shrimp, pistol shrimp. They like when they click, they lock their arm, and when they click, it's momentarily hotter than the sun. They create like implosions that are like underwater that you can hear. Like it's ridiculous.
And what does the punch do? Crack the shell?
It stuns them, and then they just eat. I mean, it's unreal. And so, but then mantis shrimp, they have eyes that they can see polar light, which is like the most advanced kind of eyes that we know of, and so they see like far far beyond anything we could even imagine. It's like all of this like magnetic, basically electromagnetic. Like it's unfucking believable.
Yeah. Real predator shit.
Yeah, right.
Oh, it's insane. And so so if
And
like
they're
dogs
delicious.
just so good.
Get 'em out.
So good. So
They should just hand those out with the crabs when they serve them. Like have them fucking.
yeah, exactly. Just right there. Oh, thanks, dude. I'm gonna eat you last.
Such a cool animal and such a bad superhero. Like, mantis shrimp. What? Why the shrimp part? Look, it's fucking. Look,
Just can you go along with it?
Yeah,
You know,
it's cool. You want to see something hotter than the sun? No, you got a weird outfit. God damn it!
Are the extra legs much? Like I wasn't
too many legs.
It works for Spider-Man. Spider-Man has two legs. He did it at one time.
I think the funny thing is that I think like our mental appetite exceeds our physical ability so much with humans, and I love that about us. There's a lot of things that aren't good about humans, and one of the things that's good is
don't say.
a few, but our imagination is what separated us. You've read *Sapiens*, right? The book *Sapiens*. It's fantastic. It's basically how we became what we are from the very, very beginnings, and why we were dominant over Neanderthal and stuff like that. And one of the things that was communication and imagination were the two things that gave us the ability over and above anything else. We were physically not as good as Neanderthal and things like that, but we were capable of saying, all right, if you guys go over there and push that rock down, that'll kill those guys. All right, so I'll tell you to go push that rock down. And the Neanderthal were like, come fucking get it, man. And I'm like, no, go drop that rock on him. And you're like, okay, cool. And that's how it worked. We were always able to.
Him, though.
No, fuck the hell out of him.
Exactly.
Fuck the hell out of him.
Devonian, I think, as well. We fucked out.
Fuck anybody.
Denisovan, something.
They'd fuck anybody. Denisovan,
I think. Yeah.
That's a weird fucking turn. Give me another random.
Another one. Oh, no. We've exhausted.
We got from ghosts.
We were talking about caveman ghosts. It wasn't that far off.
I loved it. That was crazy. A little something different here. What's the dumbest thing you've ever cried about?
Dumbest thing I've ever cried about. I don't know.
We can always pass.
The dumbest thing.
I mean, like, I cry during, like, Pixar movies, but who the fuck doesn't?
But that's not dumb.
Yeah, exactly. It's not dumb.
Yeah, I don't know if
I mean, I even tear up during I swear to God, I tear up during like the short films in the beginning.
What? I haven't cried, but I've got choked up sometimes for like a commercial. That's when you know your brain's too stressed. It's when you're like, oh man, really wanted that Snickers, and you start crying. You're like, what the fuck's wrong with me?
I don't know if you saw the movie Swingers at the end of the movie. His girlfriend, he's been waiting the whole movie to call him, his ex-girlfriend. And she's like, I just saw that commercial about the tire with the baby. Oh yeah.
But it's true. Like sometimes you're like, that's how I know it's time to take a break. It's like, hey, maybe we back off the booze and get some sleep. Yeah. Because we're crying a hell of a lot at a MASH episode that we really don't need to be crying at.
But like a stupid thing? Yeah. Like, I don't know, when a commercial sounds like a stupid thing.
I almost cried the other day. I lost all my music that I had imported onto my computer via CD back in the day. I had it all on an external drive.
That's frustration.
CD,
that's worth it. Yeah, frustration.
I almost cried, but I did, and that was yesterday.
But a frustration cry isn't dumb. It's just like you get so frustrated that you're like, I either put my fist through this laptop or I weep a little bit, and we're all okay.
I had to keep telling the Apple Genius guy, like, look, please don't take my frustration out personal. You know, it's not personal. I'm just.
I think stupid is a relative fucking term.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, like, if you're crying, then it's probably near and dear to you.
So instead of stupid, like, what's a time you cry that you're embarrassed about? Maybe?
What have you had one of those, Mike? Why don't you had one of those?
I cry all the fucking time, but I'm not embarrassed about it. I cry way more than my wife.
You just live stream it. That's his entire TikTok. It's just Mike crying.
I cry a lot of that.
There's ASMR and then there's the crying channel.
Dude, I would totally go for some crying ASMR. Mike, there's your niche, man. Fucking bring it about.
Just cry very softly.
ASMR, you sad?
I cried about. No, just I'm just emotional. I think men are open to crying now.
I like that though.
How about this one? Have you ever pooped your pants?
Oh, we've discussed this, and I have not.
I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease at 11 years old, so yes.
There you go.
So decades of it.
Crohn's, poopity Crohn's. poop with the crones.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, but I've had this discussion with my wife actually about. I'm like, it terrifies me the amount of comedians who have I shit my pants stories. I'm like, what is going on in your life?
Especially the Vancouver
And
scene.
they're
right?
pretty, they're pretty
Really?
open about it. I was like, I shit myself all the time. I'm like, why?
Yeah,
why do
yeah.
you do that? It's not funny. It's terrifying.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
if you have a reason, yeah, okay. Like I have
They've lost motor
IBS.
skills.
Sometimes I get to the point where I'm like
Well,
sometimes
yeah,
you're
you
on
get
a
older
long
and you
road
realize,
gig.
I need to be like
But
nowhere.
there's usually a warning.
Yeah.
Have you read H. John Benjamin's book, Failure is an Option?
No.
First of all, listen to
Love
the
it.
audiobook because he reads it. And second of
Fantastic.
all, he has a story about, because he has, I think he has like Crohn's or something. He has something like that. And he tells a story about shitting his pants in a rental car on the way to the first meeting of the Archer cast.
Ooh, there
at
goes his
2 o'clock in
deposit.
the morning on the way to Pasadena, because he was on the plane first class. He's like, oh, I'll just indulge and have this, and then he's like, I'm shitting my pants in a rental car, and I'm just covered in shit. And it's just so funny. And then he goes into like super nice high end hotel, and he's like wearing shorts because he was wearing shorts, and he's just falling out of his fucking pants. And he's like, then I realized what the security guard saw. Just got shit all over it's a fucking hilarious story.
I'm the guy that can tell you like the places to go poop. Like I know,
fantastic.
like
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right,
yeah.
Holiday Inn, pull up, walking
Yep.
with your backpack, like you just you act like
there's
you've
a
been there.
casino,
Just scroll on.
You
Oh,
find
yeah.
a casino, dude, that's
Oh, that
luxury.
too. Sure. Yeah.
fuck
Yep.
yeah.
Damn, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, because no one's going to bother you in there because you could be crying and vomiting.
Yeah.
I need to find some, like, there just needs to be a dedicated, like, they have Chinatown, Japantown, where you just go in, all the fucking toilets sparkle,
Yeah.
send up jets of water,
Yeah.
speak to you in a happy
like a
voice,
Busby Barkley.
Yeah. It's like the fucking, it's like the what's it called? Caesar's Palace. It just,
Yeah.
jets of water, right? Yeah.
My grandparents used a bidet, and that was always weirded me out.
I was trying to install. I just got a new apartment. I wanted to install one, and like my landlord was like, "Oh, but these plumbers are coming over. Why don't you ask them to do it?" And they were like, "Nah, we can't do it because of liability reasons." So I told my landlady, and she was like, "No, if they are not going to do it, you can't do it." And I was like, "Oh,
What
come
about
on,
those
I
ones
want
that you
water
just
up my
plug
ass."
in? Like, those, like the
But that's what
I
it
got one
is.
of
It's
those.
super
Tushies.
simple. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super. So that's what I was going to do, and she
Yeah.
was like, "No, if they're not going to do it."
Oh,
then
they won't even let you put a tushy in there?
Yeah.
Oh, my comic buddy in Atlanta, Devin, got one, and he swears by it now. He's just like,
Yeah.
How rich have you got to be to fill one of those with vodka, though? You know, like,
Oh, nice,
Like
a
take a
nice
shit in a
fucking
bus.
vodka
Except vodka
enema.
up your ass.
it's like,
that's,
I gotta go to the bathroom again.
that might sting if you've got hemorrhoids, man.
Either that or it's
Vodka
going to get rid of your
hemorrhoids.
fucking hemorrhoids.
Yeah.
That's going to sterilize them real quick.
Gonna get rid of your whole anal cavity.
How did I get rid of my monkeypox? I don't know, but I'm fine now.
I think we just invented something. I think
we did.
we
I think it
we
happened.
should go into
We take this
business.
on Shark Tank. Here's I don't drink butt is what it's called.
Don't drink butt.
B-U-T-T.
Well, we're about an hour. Should we do one more?
Let's do one more. Why not? Unless you guys got somewhere to be.
No, man, it's whatever you want to do.
This one's pretty generic, but it's a random question maker. Who is your first celebrity crush?
Oh, I know.
Oh, you go first then.
She just passed away.
Betty White.
Nope. Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah, that's
I had a poster on my wall.
That's super cute. I like
Yeah,
that.
she's great.
You know what little boys do with a poster on the wall.
What did they call her? Olivia Neutron Bomb? Because she was a bombshell? That's what they used to call
Dude.
her.
Are
you
Nice.
serious?
I heard her on the radio as a kid, and
Yeah.
in my head, she was singing to me, dude. Like, you know what I mean?
You
Like,
get the poster
Yeah.
and everything.
Wow.
yeah,
fuck.
oh hell
That's
yeah,
so-
dude.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
But we're about the same age, though, right? So we
Yeah.
have that same sort
How
of
old are you?
generation. 45.
Yeah, 47.
Yeah, so we have that same side of like, mine was Axl Rose.
Raised on radio.
I thought he was a girl for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
And I think he did too.
On
Dude
that
looks like
subject,
a
the
lady.
first rated R movie, my father took me to see Purple Rain. I was 9 years
Whoa,
old.
9 years old?
9 fucking years. Why are you taking your son to see Purple? By the way, though, I love that movie, man.
Yeah, but
and,
still.
and I loved Moore's Day and the Time better than I liked Prince, man. But my dad leans over to me during the lovemaking scenes, and it's fucking weird. The weirdest thing my dad ever said to me is like, "So, son, how's it feel to watch a man and a woman making love?" I was like, that's a guy?
You're like, I didn't know what they were doing. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. That's what making love is. Good God.
That was his thing. He's like, he was probably like, I got to give him the talk. How do I do this?
Yeah, I think he was trying to do that. Yeah. My parents were just divorced.
This
so he
will
was
confuse him for a long time. And he won't want anything to do with it.
Even when I tell him that now, he's like, oh, really? Yeah, he took me to that.
Did I do that? He's like, I was hella drunk. All right, you're having a talk. Let's go see Prince.
We're going to go see Purple Rain, and you're going to like it.
Maybe he thought it was a Barney the Dinosaur movie. Prince, guys, he's not in this one.
The purple and green
First celebrity
rain.
crush, fellas?
First celebrity crush. Mikey.
Easy. I would do Natalie Portman, but the first poster I had in my room was Jessica Alba, Sin City.
How old are you,
Ooh.
Mikey?
I'm 37.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she's about...
And I'm just realizing now how
You're
many
getting
posters
into-
in your room. That's like the first time your parent walks in and be like, "Oh, he's fully masturbating."
I
Okay.
never had girl posters in my room. No, I had airplanes.
Nice.
You jerked off.
I
to
think
those.
I had like
You were like,
comic
that's the
book
thing
and
that's going to
fucking-
take me all over the world.
Yeah.
I had a comic book and like music, like band posters. and
Yeah,
shit.
band
really?
posters. Yeah, I didn't really have like girl posters. I don't really care. I've never been that guy though.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't really give a shit. I have a bit about this. I just don't care. And I was just thinking, I was like, maybe I'm less of a man. I'm like, nah, I just fucking don't give a shit. Like, I just have different interests.
I used to be self-conscious of my dad seeing my comic books and stuff because they're so like hyper-masculine
Yeah.
men in tights. And
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
So it's like,
But that's the thing is, like, yeah, I don't understand. Like, I've never really been like celebrity crush. I mean, there's obviously like, I guess like Alicia Silverstone maybe, but I was probably about like 18.
Is that
so that's the first one.
is that Clueless? No.
You guys
Yeah.
got into your
Oh,
celebrity
yeah.
crushes late
Late,
in life,
yeah.
man. I was 8
Yeah.
years old, 7 years old. I was like,
I'll tell you two things. Okay, so absolutely. All right, and I was like, do I say? Yeah, absolutely. So I was like 7 or
Yeah.
whatever, and I was like Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen.
Oh, yeah.
Totally. Right
That's
around.
fair game.
I mean, they're like 3-4 years old or whatever. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that
I'm
makes
super
sense.
down.
I liked Drew Barrymore when I was a kid in E.T., but I don't know. It wasn't a crush. It was just more of a, she's kind of pretty. It wasn't like a,
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking like, I want to kiss her.
Yeah,
It's just
no,
like, you
it's
know.
just like she seems nice.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, when I was a kid, so I'm 33 and a half. As of yesterday, I'm 33 and a half.
Well, guys.
Give me a present.
here's the pinata.
Yeah, exactly. I was waiting for the balloons of confetti when the alarm went off for the bonus round. I was like, oh, here it is. They surprised.
Bonus round.
Baywatch. Baywatch with that slow motion shit, super down. And then I've always been like attracted to anything but white women. So I remember seeing like Shakira for the first time. Rosario Dawson always had a crush on Rosario Dawson. Sin City
She's
is mine.
great. She's so pretty and a great actor.
I just always
Good
like
actor.
I remember years ago,
And
like not
range
years
is
ago, a
amazing.
couple years ago, Bert Kreischer put out a thing on Twitter. What's your favorite woman? What's the most attractive woman in any movie you've ever seen? And I put Bjork, Dancer in the Dark, and he's like, why? And I'm like, I like women that look like they could destroy you. And I realized that is what I like. I like women that look like they're stronger than you, smarter than you, and can destroy you. Like
So
that's just
Grace
what
Jones, you've rubbed like 17,000 out to Grace Jones.
I met your wife and she checks all those boxes.
she just checks. She's smarter than me. She's stronger than me, and she can destroy me. And it's just one of those things where I like that. I like being outwitted. I like challenging people,
Yeah.
and I just never really saw that in Baywatch.
It's fantastic.
There's a lot of like, okay, but
and you won't.
it's like, okay, I don't think this is.
I mean,
for
like
me.
I understand and appreciate like sexy for sexy's sake.
Yeah.
But I'm right there with you,
yeah.
where it's like, no, I need to be like actually
Wicked
like
smack.
stimulated,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Same.
Otherwise, I'm like, I mean, I'll still fuck you, but like it'll be like a one time kind of thing.
I really find it's funny. Is like I really find like it's like that whole thing where like sometimes women will say that men don't like funny women, and I think some men don't for sure because they're threatened by it. But I think that's the best thing. I think.
You
yeah,
go
I love
tit for
it.
tat with
Oh,
me with
yeah,
puns
the best thing.
and
Yeah.
one-upsmanship, please. My God,
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Who was your first celebrity crush?
Oh, Ace Ventura.
Oh,
That's so much fun. I love that answer. That's a great answer.
trumps all of ours.
Not even
Yeah.
Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura specifically.
Was it the shirt or the hair or both?
Yeah.
Is it all?
Oh, nice.
The whole package.
Oh my
And
god.
she saw the second one first. Every now and then I'll do like a reference the first one, like the blowjob, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
goes right over her head.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
knows the
amazing.
second
Yeah.
one.
I love When Nature Calls. That's fantastic.
That movie, Ace Ventura, the first one especially, like that was my first like teenager. Like this movie is like what?
Yeah,
Like, oh my
yeah.
god!
Yeah.
I remember I saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I guess I was probably 11 or something like that, 12. And I remember that movie just blew my mind because I had grown up on Warner Brothers cartoons, and then in my head there was no connection of real people and cartoons. And of course back then it didn't work the way it does now. Like that was hand animated. That was like
it's insane.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
an
The work
if
they
you
put into
look
it,
at
it's
that
insane.
movie,
Yeah.
it stands up now
yeah.
against computer. In fact, it's better because it's like listening to something on vinyl, and you watch that movie and you're like, what the fuck?
There's a whole dissection mini doc on YouTube about like basically what went into creating that movie,
Yeah.
and
The
there's
licensing alone, right?
a licensing alone, and they made it so that if they had one Warner Brothers character, it would have to be of equal measure for the Disney characters.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you'd have in the one scene where he's falling out of or falling from the building, you have Bugs and Mickey, and then on the piano it's Daffy and Donald.
Yeah.
And so you have to be like tit for tat. But what's interesting is with the hand-drawn animation and everything, and again before computer animation, as it were. And there's a Brad Pitt movie that came out very shortly
Cool
thereafter.
World, or whatever.
Cool World,
Cool
yeah. And it just does not stand up because they
Yeah, that
didn't
was
take
awful,
the time.
wasn't
No.
There's a scene in Who Framed Roger Rabbit where they're doing like the interrogation or whatever, and there's a light bulb swinging, and they have all of the shadows for Roger be completely accurate to where the light bulb's
Yeah,
swinging, and
yeah.
so they went through and they had to do all this stuff before
Yeah.
motion capture, before
Yeah.
anything. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
the
There's a
level
scene
of-
when the weasels are in
Exactly.
his house, and he
And-
flicks the water.
Yeah.
And it's just like meh, meh, and it's like
Yeah.
this little thing, and then the way it's not just that the water moves; it moves exactly as it would move
It's
if you were to flick the
unreal.
water. And so, but this is before green screen technology was anything like what it is. And they had a blue screen or whatever back then, and this no computer animation. This is all, and also it's
Meticulous,
incredibly acted too.
Yep,
Hoskins
yep.
is amazing.
Yep.
Fucking
I
Christopher
mean, he's
Lloyd.
not as good as he was in Mario Brothers, but he's
No,
pretty good.
he's not-
Hoskins
no,
is
how can
pretty
you
good in
be?
that movie.
But fucking Christopher Lloyd too scared the shit out of me.
Oh, yeah.
Holy fuck, that was
Yeah,
terrifying.
you're like going between that and Back to the Future, and you're like, my God, same actor, Jesus.
Christopher Lloyd, right?
Yeah, Christopher
Yeah.
Lloyd, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess we probably better
I'm
wrap
just
this up.
terrified
Yeah,
of the
man.
dogs unplugging
No,
something.
that's
It's
okay.
been a
Let's
great
Simon,
episode.
There are
it's good
dogs
seeing you,
are
man.
one. It's good to see you too.
It's yeah.
Anything we can plug, boys? Anything individual?
If you don't mind, I'll plug my website and
Nope,
can't.
can't do it. And damn it, we're literally.
what I was gonna do.
Just ran out of time right before you plugged your website.
Damn it.
Yeah, we're. This isn't even on the internet. We don't believe in the internet. This is just there's a big tube that goes outside. It's the people outside are listening to it.
Where are the cameras?
A series of
There's no
tubes.
Series of
The
tubes.
internet's a series of tubes.
No, plug your website.
Yeah, it's royscomedy.com. And if you scroll to the bottom of the page, it's got all my social media links there. You can find me that way. But something else that I'm kind of proud of, I know I've mentioned it to you, I think briefly, but during quarantine, I used to be a drummer, so I got together with a bunch of.
Oh, yeah, I listened to it.
I got,
Yeah.
I got together with a bunch of like musician friends of mine, and we went in the studio and recorded some songs. And the name of that project is Good Ol' Mule.
Good old mule.
OLE Mule. So
Nice.
goodoldmule.com.
That's on YouTube.
And it's irreverent.
Yeah.
And the two songs that we've done so far, we're actually going back on December 3rd to do two more.
Oh, nice.
But the two songs, it's irreverent, lyrically. One song is about the Pizzagate conspiracy and
Yeah.
that whole nonsense. It's funny.
Nice.
I wrote a bunch of comedy material about how pissed off I was about QAnon and like friends of mine that were getting into it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And it was so angry, but the one thing I kept was the chorus for this song.
There you go.
And it was Tom Hanks is participating in a pedophile porn ring run from parking lot porta potties at Papa John's Pizza.
There you go.
That's the one thing out of all the shit I wrote, because everything sounded so angry that I was writing. And I was like, this
what
isn't
you don't
gonna
realize is I'm going to put a drum and bass track right behind that, and then that's going to be our new theme song. Just you saying that.
I'm here for it.
work. And the other song's completely different. It's called Whores for Hanukkah.
Yeah. There
It's
you
about a Jewish boy going to Amsterdam during the Hanukkah season.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's loosely based,
Yeah.
but, and embellished, but
Yeah.
it's funny, man. I don't know.
12 days of light petting.
I didn't want to do serious lyrics.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I was like, I'm a comedian. I might as well write funny fucking lyrics. You
Yeah,
know?
man. Do it.
So yeah, that's
Sounds
it.
All right.
Thanks for letting me plug that.
Oh,
You're going to cut it out later.
Both our listeners, both our listeners, who are my parents.
And Lindsay's the third
Hey,
one.
thanks
Oh,
to
nice.
thank them for me, because I really enjoyed meeting you, man. That's
they're
20
cool.
years.
They're
20
cool,
years,
right?
bro.
Yeah, 20 years,
You know
yeah.
that? 20 fucking years, man.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
world.
I know.
Fucking hell, thanks.
No,
for-
we're better. We're better, Simon.
Oh yeah, I had my birthday. I'm 45. I fucked up my ankle. That's why I'm drinking non-alcoholic beer because I drive here. Anyway.
Oh yeah,
bring that up.
from
What do
the
you wanna
top.
post?
Yeah, I was gonna plug my website. It's royscomedy.net,
Yeah, there you
and
go. Yeah.
right at the bottom, all my socials. I also want to plug
Yeah.
my band. It's Better Young Donkey.
It's a better young donkey.
And Better Young Donkey.
Hang on.
And
are you trying to make fun of me right now?
It's a
not
BYD.
trying.
Everyone loves the BYD.
No, I actually just set up all my shit, and it's MRL Comedy because my name is Maximillian Robert Lockwood, and that's what I go by, and fucking nobody can spell it. That's for damn fucking sure. Really? And I'm not gonna. No. Maximillian. Here's a fun one.
I've known
and
it for 10 years. I just started spelling it right in like the last 6 months.
Oh yeah.
But you only just learned to
It's
read.
amazing.
So
It
that's
correspondences and everything. I'll like
Hey.
have my name written right there, and then
Yeah.
they'll still fuck it up. Like I'm like, it's literally just copy and paste. It's right there.
Yeah.
So MRL Comedy, and that's I deleted my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the beginning of
Yeah, he's-
2019.
Yeah.
Even
I'm
further
great.
than
I
you are.
Yeah.
Facebook
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
stuck
Off the
with
grid.
Twitter and Instagram just for booking.
I would get rid
and-
of all that shit if I didn't do what I'm doing.
And I
and-
feel
I
exactly
really
the
would.
same way.
Exactly. And so
Exactly.
I'm trying to just route everything through my website now,
Yeah.
but I'm starting to like post merch there and everything. I just set it up like a month ago, mrlcomedy.com. I do have like my YouTube page there, so
There you go.
yay.
Oh, and if you're in Richland, Washington, do you need dates? I don't know when this is going out, but
I don't know either.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Probably
be
tomorrow.
at Jokers, and we're gonna be
We're gonna be at Jokers in Richmond, Club 48 in Yakima, and then Medford. We're in Grand
Chadwick's
Stafford.
at the Rogue Regency. Yeah.
There you go.
So,
Sweet.
Mikey,
So if you're in Oregon or Washington, come see us.
anything you want to plug, Mikey?
No, I'm around. I'm here.
Just happy.
Just been alive.
Just being
Just
alive.
promoting that I'm
my
alive.
Just
my
promoting
apartment
that
is
you're
on the
alive, just in
12th
case anyone's
floor,
looking for you.
at the end of the hall.
He won't answer his phone, but if you watch the podcast, you'll do a safety check. Thank you very much for being on the podcast, guys. I really appreciate it. It was
Thank you so
lovely.
much
It
for
was
having
really
me.
a pleasure to meet you. It was
Dude,
great to see you
seriously.
again,
Yeah, of
buddy.
course.
And Mike Greenwood, ladies and
Thanks,
gentlemen,
Mike.
thank you so much.
Mike, thank you.
You can find the podcast at www.sk podcast on Twitter, and send us a letter, www.skpodcast@gmail.com, and you can please like, rate, and review, and hit the patreon.com/This Is Simon King, my comedy special. There's a link to it at the end of this. 12 people like it.
Hey.
The rest don't. Anyway,
Yo,
make sure you
12
watch
and
it.
a half, bro.
Thank you so
Whoa.
much.
Whoa.
Here's
Them fuck-
Look at the poopy. The next
She's
people.
adorable.
The next people want the studio. All right, we're giving it up to Dog Chat. Thank you very much. That's what's wrong this week.